your host, Tyler Crane.
All right, we're back at you with Always Auburn, coming at you Friday as all Auburn Tigers are on the road, headed to College Station to face the number 9 Texas A&M Aggies, in which looks to be a premier matchup throughout the entire college football landscape this weekend. The Texas A&M Aggies enter this game fresh off a bye week, and prior to that, after a big victory over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, where they really had to dig deep, and a last-second drive is what eventually reigned them victorious over the Irish. On the other end of this matchup, the Auburn Tigers came off of a disappointing loss last week in which we felt like we put enough on the field to win the football game, but there were some things outside of our control that did not go our way that really dictated the outcome and essentially led to a loss in the win-loss column for the Auburn Tigers. But nevertheless, the beautiful thing about the SEC is when one thing goes bad one week, there's always a great opportunity right around the corner, and there is a perfect example of this weekend as your Auburn Tigers head into Texas A&M with everything still in front of them and the opportunity to get a big win on the road against a big-time opponent. So with that being said, it's Friday. We're going to keep it short today. We talked about a lot this week with the offenses and defenses that Auburn is headed into College Station to face tomorrow. So we're just going to have some key points to the game, some key points for success for Auburn to keep in mind. I'm going to leave you with a final score prediction. We're also going to look back in time at a game that I think had some similar circumstances surrounding the game Auburn enters tomorrow. So we're going to get started with the key points. One of the first key points I have is the penalties. Now, I know you can't control everything in a game, but one thing you can control is the pre-snap penalties. And that starts with coaching, that starts with offensive line, that starts with the entire unit. Really, it's a mentality. We're not going to jump off sides. We're not going to move until the ball is snapped. And this is something that has got to be emphasized as you go on the road because, yes, it's going to be much louder in College Station, the home of the 12th man, this week than it was in Norman, Oklahoma. Much louder. Norman, Oklahoma brought a good environment, but they have nowhere near as many people that fits into that stadium as what College Station holds, which is one of the biggest stadiums. I'm not sure. It's top 2 or 3 largest stadiums in college football, period. So it's going to be loud, and Auburn really has to not hurt themselves and have those self-inflicted wounds that kill drives. There are such drive killers when you hurt yourself by backing yourself up because of something that you really didn't have to do. So that is a key point. We got to eliminate the false start penalties. That starts with the offensive line, the communication up there, and just the discipline that comes with not moving until that ball is snapped. Another key point, this points to we're looking at the special teams. We've got to be more decisive as a coaching staff about when we are going to attempt field goals and how that looks through a successful versus unsuccessful perception. We have got to send our field goal unit out there when we actually think, when the odds are actually in our favor, that we will make the field goal. It's outside of our control what has gone on with Alex McPherson. It's tragic. It hurts the program. It's some misfortune, but it is what it is. It's where we are at this point. Connor Gibbs has not really been able to answer the bell. I don't know how much confidence. I don't even know if Coach Freeze is really entertaining the thought of giving him another opportunity after just a terrible attempt last week on that deep field goal. And we all know about Towns Magoo. He had all the potential, hometown boy out of Auburn, great kicker, and he has just something's not clicking. Not sure what that is. But we've caught a lot of misfortune in the field goal kicking room because of that. So by knowing that and being transparent about it, Coach Freeze, let's be more decisive. I was so disappointed last week in the Oklahoma game when we got it down to 4th and 9. I think it was like 3rd and 15, 16. on the drive when we attempted the 50-yard field goal. We got about 8 yards, something like that, on third down, which made it 4th and 9. It was the reason it was 3rd and 15 or 16 is because of a procedure penalty in which we got backed up, by the way. But nevertheless, we got it down to 4th and 9. I said in my head when we got it to 4th and 9, watching the game, I said, man, you got to go for it. We're not going to make this 50-yard field goal. I'd bet the house. It's just not going to happen. And I'm pretty sure everybody else would have too who follows Auburn and understands the struggles that we've had in the field goal kicking unit. So all I said was just go for it. Either go for it or catch a delay a game or 2 delay a games and punt the ball. It's not worth giving up field position for a hope and a prayer that maybe the young man will get lucky or something out of the ordinary happens and we actually make one of these long distance field goals, because it's just not adding up. It hurt us a lot last year. It hurt us a whole lot, not just a lot, a whole lot last year. And we got to be more decisive about not allowing it to hurt us this year. It's really, we talk about compounding mistakes. Well, this is compounding misfortune and mistakes, because when you send the field goal kicker out there to attempt a 50-yard field goal that we're kicking from dang near the 50-yard line, the opposing team's 42 or something like that, we're really, when we miss it, we're giving the opposition wonderful field position to work with. It's the same as going for it and not getting it. So I have more faith in going for the 4th and 9 than attempting a 50-yard field goal, which I understand Coach Freeze, they're going to criticize you either way. If you go out there and you don't get the 4th and 9, you're going to have people talking, saying, you should have tried the field goal. You should have kicked the field goal. Well, the odds of us making that 4th and 9 were a lot greater than Connor Gibbs going out there and making that 50-yard field goal that was, he pushed to the pylon, it looked like, and it was probably 10 yards short as well. So just be more decisive from a mindset of what the odds look like on either kicking the field goal or going for it on 4th down, or just punting the ball, taking some delay of game, pooch punting the ball, and getting field position. Because we don't want to give up field position, especially when our defense is playing well. So that's a key point. Be decisive in when it's best to try field goals and when it's best to not and just go for it. Last key, and this is a big one. If we have the chance to win the game on defense, what I mean by that is if we have the lead anywhere from about 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter and on down, if that is an opportunity and it's a tight game and Auburn is winning with 7-5-2, whatever, anything about halfway through that quarter, that last quarter, win the game on defense. It was there last week. We took the lead with 5 minutes left in the game, and the defense allowed the one drive that Oklahoma had throughout the entire game to go down there and beat us. We've seen it in these close games throughout the past in the Hugh Freeze era. No need to bring them up. We've already exhausted. Excuse me. We've already exhausted that avenue, and to tell you the truth, I'm sick of talking about it. So just win the game on defense. If it's there for the taking, win the game on defense. That's the 3 key points. Let's look a little bit back in time, and just for some hope, for some entertainment purposes, for some reminiscing, the good old days about the Auburn Tigers. I really kind of see some similarities from this in this matchup as the 2014 matchup. The Auburn Tigers went on the road to face the Ole Miss Rebels. Now, if you can remember, prior to that game, Auburn played South Carolina, which they won. But before that, they went on the road to face Mississippi State, and that was when Mississippi State had Dak Prescott. Mississippi State was They were in the top 5. They might have been number 1, tell you the truth. The only time in history that Mississippi State was number 1 in the country. But they were definitely in the top 5. And Auburn played a good game, especially in the first half. There was a big touchdown that the one time in history that they actually called pass interference on the offense gets called on Sammy Coates. I'm not sure if it was a touchdown or he caught the ball on the 1-yard line, but it was a big play. It probably would have put Auburn in the end zone, gave us a comforting, a nice little lead in the first half, and they threw the flag and called pass interference on what I guess the refs called a push off, probably similar to the push off that we saw Isaiah Bond do on DJ James in the famous Gravedigger play a couple years ago in the Iron Bowl. And I'm sure there's numerous others that we can remember Auburn players being pushed off on and not getting the call. But nevertheless, that was that. We ended up losing that game to Mississippi State and had another opportunity a couple weeks later to face the number 4 Ole Miss Rebels, who your head coach for the Ole Miss Rebels that year was none only than our head coach now, Hugh Freeze. That's a little food for thought and a little just kind of coincidence to it. But the game went back and forth. That game did a lot of back and forth. It was close throughout that game. We threw a blow, they threw a blow. Nobody was really out of the game to the end of the game. And Ole Miss ensuingly they had some misfortune in that game. Laquan Treadwell, as we can all remember, was at the end zone. They actually called it a touchdown on the field, and it was reviewed. And what they saw is that he never got the ball over the goal line prior to being pulled down. He actually broke his leg on that play, we don't want that. We never want anything like that. But Auburn went on to win the game because of that play. And it holds some familiarity there just with everything circulating the game that we have this week with the offenses. We have some high-powered offenses. Hugh Freeze being the head coach. And I'm going to leave you with the final score prediction, and I'm going to refer exactly to that game. I think your Auburn Tigers go into College Station tomorrow and face the Texas A&M Aggies and come out of there with a 35-31 win. 35 points, 7 touchdowns. No need for field goals. We can't make them anyway, so we're going to score nothing but touchdowns. I hope when we are decisive when it comes to those moments and Freeze just says, go for it. I hope that's what he says, and I believe we score nothing but touchdowns. I think Texas A&M kind of goes blow for blow with us because they have a good offense. They're never going to be out of the game, I don't feel like, with an offense as explosive as what they have. But like I've mentioned before, I'm never going to predict our Auburn Tigers to lose. It's just something against my religion. It's not in my blood. So you heard it here first, 35-31. We'll be back at you Sunday to talk about all of it. Hopefully we got big smiles on our faces. We can get ready to go into a bye week with another opportunity right around the corner after that. So we'll be back at you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the college football. And as always, War Eagle!
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Y'all know what time it is. Hey, yo, this song right here for all them niggas talking that shit.